All right, so it's official. Diontae Johnson released by the Baltimore Ravens today. Kind of surprised because I thought the Ravens would try to keep him around for the rest of the season because if Diontae signed elsewhere in free agency, that they would have a chance for a compensatory pick. But I'm guessing that with the moves that they made in correspondence with the Diontae Johnson release, they called up Desmond King and they also called up Anthony Miller. They probably thought it'd be at least better to have some dudes on this roster that may contribute, like an Anthony Miller or a Desmond King, than just to have a guy taking up a roster spot, sitting at home doing nothing. Because that's the agreement that the Ravens and Diontae came to over the last week or so. He was just gonna stay away from the team. So I guess the Ravens could only handle that for so long, given that they're trying to actually be a legit contender, be in the playoff mix and stuff. So having one man that's not even gonna do anything puts you, I guess, a step behind all these other playoff teams in a way. Like Anthony Miller, he might actually get some snaps for them at some point. Desmond King, that's a legit player right there. So to have Diontae Johnson just chilling and doing nothing, I get you could try to get that compensatory pick in free agency, but sometimes you gotta just focus on the here and now, and that's what the Ravens are doing with this move of releasing Diontae Johnson. So the obvious question is, do the Steelers pick him up? So he's got a clear, or well, we could put in a waiver claim for him, I guess, because waivers starts on Monday. I think it starts Monday 4 o'clock, and then the process is overnight into Tuesday. And whoever had the better priority waiver claim is gonna, if anyone puts in a waiver claim, that's the team that's gonna get him. So we could, I guess, put in a waiver claim for Diontae, but also not get him. You guys know how it works with fantasy football and waivers with that. I think it's pretty much the same thing. Does anyone know the waiver claim order in the NFL, though, or even how it works? Is it based off record? Is it based off what waiver claims you've put in the past? When does it reset? So that's something I have no clue about. If it's based off record, the Steelers actually don't have that good of a chance of getting Diontae Johnson. I feel like there's other receiver-needy teams, like LA Chargers, for example, that could use a Diontae Johnson, pick him up off waivers basically free. So that's unfortunate. But if he does make it to us, if we actually do have a chance of putting in a waiver claim for him, or if he clears waivers, should we bring him in? A couple weeks ago I said no, but at this point, with Pickens' injury, the hamstring injury, and how far Diontae has fallen, I would assume he'd be coming back to the squad humbled and just willing to do whatever it takes to help this team win, whether it's playing 40 snaps, whether it's playing one snap, whether it's playing no snaps. I feel like he would be pumped to be back in Pittsburgh. He said as much whenever we played him the first time, how he talked with Tomlin, how he said he misses Pittsburgh and everything. So I would be for it. I wouldn't have any expectations, though, because if we're trading for a Mike Williams before the trade deadline, we know what type of talent he is. We know the type of player he is, and it's been a struggle to get him acclimated, to get him the ball at a pretty high clip, or just at not even a high clip, just at a consistent clip, especially with Pickens being out too these last couple of games. If it's been a struggle with him, I kind of think it would be tough with Diontae Johnson. Now, I could be wrong because they're different receivers, different receiver styles, but he's coming back to not the same Pittsburgh team that he left. No Matt Canada, no Kenny Pickett. No, the whole quarterback situation is different. We have Russell Wilson, and yeah, new coordinator, new system, all that stuff. So I don't think he's gonna be stepping in automatically and being wide receiver 2 or playing this big time role, which is fine because we could at least use Diontae for the depth. And, in case we need someone like him out there, or in case we feel like we could use an upgrade over Van Jefferson or Calvin Austin over these next couple weeks or in the playoffs, we could use them. We could say, okay, you know what? It still just hasn't been working with this Van Jefferson, Mike Williams, Calvin Austin combination to the way we like. Practices have been good with Diontae for a couple weeks. It seems like he's building rapport with Russell Wilson. It's first round of the playoffs. You know what? Let's let's unleash Diontae Johnson. Let's see what the old Pickens-Diontae Johnson combo could do with Russell Wilson. We would at least have that option if Diontae's on the roster. So that's another reason why I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him in. I'd be for it, just with how the receiver room has shifted a little bit over these last couple weeks with Pickens' injury and the fact that Mike Williams still isn't like completely acclimated. I do like the Russell Wilson, Calvin Austin connection, but Van Jefferson, we know it really hasn't been that consistent with him. Scotty Miller, I like Scotty Miller, but he doesn't get much time. And Diontae is a much more proven receiver than any of those dudes. Outside of, I mean, you can argue between him and Mike Williams, who's the better receiver career-wise, but Diontae is younger. Diontae is more in his prime. I think Diontae is the better receiver right now. I said that as much going back to the trade deadline. I said if we could trade for Diontae Johnson, remember there was that rule that said that once you trade a guy, you can't trade him back to your team for another 2 years. I said if we could trade for him, I would prefer Diontae over a lot of these receivers that are available at the trade deadline. Now, I mean, what receivers were actually available? I know we were talking about DK Metcalf. Cooper Kupp seemed like he actually was. Courtland Sutton, obviously he wasn't available to the degree that we thought. But either way, I think Diontae would have been like a top 2 or 3 option for a trade before that deadline. But we couldn't do it. So he ends up getting traded to the Ravens. Can't find a role there, and who knows what's going on behind the scenes. There's the report that he didn't even want to go into play. Harbaugh asked him to go in for the fourth quarter or something, some snaps late in the game, and he didn't go in, and then he got suspended, and now we're at where we're at with him officially getting released by the Ravens. I'd be for it, though, man. I guess we don't have to make a decision now. The Ravens, a little bit savvy with how they played this too, where they released him at this point, and if the Steelers did try to claim or if the Steelers did try to sign him, they wouldn't be able to until after the game that we play in Baltimore. So I see what the Ravens are doing there. A little bit of a savviness to that front office move, but I don't even know if we're going to be able to get him, man. I don't. And then the question is, how do we still feel about Diontae in-house? Like, there's a reason we got rid of him, and part of it was some of like the just like behind the scenes stuff and, you know, his attitude. And I mean, are we cool with him? Is he cool? I think he's definitely cool with us. I think he misses being here in Pittsburgh, but like, what's our energy? I'm sure it'd be fine. I really do. I think it'd be more like a Terrell Edmonds reunion where, listen, man, hey, we went our separate ways at that point. Business was business, but now we could both help each other out. So that's how I would view it. I don't think it would be toxic. I don't think there would be anything negative about it. But I'd be for it at this point. I would be. I just wouldn't have that high of expectations, but I don't think it would hurt at all. Because I think it's different, too, with the timing of bringing him in. If we would have traded for him at the trade deadline, or maybe if we would have traded for him earlier in the season, I think it's different because we're still trying to form our team. We're trying to form our identity. And with Diontae already being here, he would maybe have a mentality of like, oh, this is still my spot. Like, this is how I do things. This is how we do things here. Whereas now we're 2-3 weeks away from the regular season ending. We have our identity. We know what we are. We're going to be in the playoffs with or without you, Diontae. It's like you're just hopping on this moving train, and you know you got to, in a way, fall in line, because if not, then we're going to do the same thing that the Ravens just did, because we don't have time for any nonsense or just anything that's unnecessary. Anything that's unnecessary. So that's it, though, for this just quick report or quick update on that situation. I want to talk about it a little bit. And I told you guys, I've been working on the background. You see? Working on the background. Not done yet. It's definitely not done, but we're getting there. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay chilling, and peace.